So I want you to picture something real fast. You're in your room and you're playing your favorite game, like Stardew Valley, Legends Arceus or something. You find yourself unable to progress for whatever reason, and you want to seek out help from the internet, but at the same time you don't want to feel like you're cheating. That's not what people were able to do back in the day. You want to do it the most authentic gamer way possible. Unless you're like me and end up making an entire video on old Sonic strategy guides and admiring how much effort went into every single stylish looking page. Why would I ever do that when I have Persona 4 Golden to finish? Sarcasm aside, I honestly don't see many people talking about these or even acknowledging the existence of these strategy guides, which is pretty disheartening because they were basically the deluxe version of your typical run-of-the-mill game manual. And the Sonic series has a ton of these, so I'm gonna be talking about them. Respective to my favorite Sonic games, of course, like Sonic Schoolhouse, Sonic Eraser, and you can't forget about that one SA1 prototype. I hope it's clear I'm joking, by the way. It should be noted that if you want to read up on these on your own, the links are in the description. As if people even look at those things anymore. I guess it only makes sense to start off with Sonic Adventure Strategy Guides, specifically the DX version on the GameCube. If there's one thing I want to make clear right off the bat, I adore Sonic Adventure's atmosphere and aesthetic. Not just in-game, but the box art in this strategy guide go for a weird mix of the sky and water, which really fits this game, especially the water aspect because of you-know-who. The second page even has this really neat looking whirlpool effect on the table of the contents. Now how about the assistance aspect of this guide? It's actually pretty damn detailed and helpful. It includes emblem locations for hub worlds, fairly decent tips for characters, upgrade locations, etc, etc. For example, they mentioned that rolling off the dash panel that sends you into the air keeps you airborne for a longer duration, and this is actually true. Although in the boss battle section, they don't mention that the light speed attack deals double damage to Chaos 6, so that's kind of a bummer. What I find absolutely hilarious is the fact that even the strategy guide itself says that the character battles are a complete joke. These are story points more than battles. Damn. They also have maps for every hub in the game, even with markers tailoring to where a character would end up after completing a stage or a story event. The maps are my favorite part of the strategy guide personally, and I honestly don't really know why. I just think it's really cool that we get an overhead view of the whole stage, especially since there's no in-game map for stages in this game. I really wish I had that Mystic Ruins map when I was playing the game for the first time a long time ago. I know SADX has a map on the pause screen, but like I said, you can only see it on the pause screen, which really interferes with the pacing in a game where you're supposed to be always on the move. They also include the final egg password, which is something I never managed to remember after all the times I replayed this game. I feel really bad for the people who were playing this game without a guide back then. That must have been hell to figure out. Animals and items that can be obtained are also listed here for my fellow challenge warriors. Also, this visual of the last section of Windy Valley looks raw as hell. It's practically a roller coaster here. Looking at Speed Highway's map just goes to show how complex the design of it is. It just makes me appreciate how much care went into designing these stages even more. And we also have the Skydeck Act 2 map, which is a cool looking cannon that represents the cannon you're supposed to destroy to progress. The crumbling section of this act always gave me trouble because I never knew which platform to go on, so I would just freeball it and hope that spin dash smashing would save my ass. As much as I dislike Lost World, yes, both kinds, the 3D-ish visual of the swimming snake section is neat, and they even included the trajectory that the snake goes in, which is a nice little touch to make this stage a little more bearable. Final Egg has an entire 16 extra lives. I know it's the last stage, but this would have been way more helpful in previous stages because when you're first playing Final Egg, you're probably not going to be exploring and risking the lives you already have just to get more. Something that really caught me off guard is the fact that they actually talked about the hidden Final Egg elevator that gives you 4 extra lives, which is something I only found out not too long ago. Is it worth it? Hell fucking no, but it just goes to show how many secrets this game has, so I still dig it. I didn't find anything interesting in Tails' section, so I'll just skip the Knuckles' for convenience. And tell me why I already spot glazing because the guide literally says Knuckles has one of the most important roles in the SA1 story because he's involved right at the beginning. Before that Chaos managed to break his shit and then dip off, he literally let Chaos hit the jets scot-free. Like imagine you're watching the Karate Kid movie and a group of tiny Asian kids let him get away with splashing water on them scot-free. Would that not make them L villains? They even say Knuckles has the coolest upgrade upgrades in the game. Oh my god, guys, isn't digging to the ground at a standstill so revolutionary? Now, maximum heat Knuckles attack, I can rock with that, even though it's only useful for the Chaos 6 fight. My absolute favorite part about Knuckles' section is that it actually confirms a little theory I had when I was younger. You know how Sonic's Skydeck after he starts having the ship's gravity fucked with? Yeah, that's all because Knuckles was messing with the gravity switch in his version of the stage. I always speculated that back then, but I never actually knew if that was the case, and sure enough it is. I guess younger me wasn't that dumb after all. Moving on to Amy's section, here's where the guy gets a bit strange. One of the first things it says is that Amy cannot jump, but rather hop. Dude, her jump height isn't even that short. There's no point in saying that. This isn't Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, dude. In fact, I actually advise jumping as her because that's the best way you're gonna gain speed as this character. It also interestingly advises you to not use the barrel in her stages, which I actually agree with. Pretty rare that a guy tells you to actively disengage from a seemingly helpful mechanic, so I found that intriguing. Same goes for the Hedgehog Hammer game. If you go over the required amount, it tells you to just sit there and stall it out so you don't have to risk your score going down by trying to hit more odds. Nice going strategy guide. Also, god damn, they made one of my favorite stages look so cool here. Hot Shelter has a lot of extensive info in this guide, most likely because it's the longest stage in the whole game. That's one of the reasons why I love it so much. Also, shout out to the guide for telling you the correct door for progression on Amy's final egg. That portion has no rhyme or reason to it, and I hate it. Not much to say for Amy since she only has 3 stages, but she is in my top 3 favorite characters to play in this game, the other 2 being Sonic and Knuckles. Gambit section I found kind of funny because his final egg and Emerald Coast's respective maps only take up a single page compared to everyone else's stages which take up multiple pages. Really goes to show how small some of the game's stages are. Also, I don't know if this is true or not, but they say Gamma's Laser Blaster upgrade targets in a wider arc and can hold his shot a bit longer before he has to fire. I always thought it made the blast radius on enemy kills larger, so maybe this is an error, I don't really know. The guide states that Zeta is the hardest fight in the game, up there with Sonic's Egg Viper. I don't really agree with that. This fight is tricky, but definitely not the hardest. I think Zeta is the best boss fight in the game along with the best music, but definitely not the hardest. I think Sonic's Egg Viper battle is not only more tricky, but goes on for much longer too. And don't even get me started on that pump fake suicide bomb that Eggman does. That actually killed me once and I'm sad to admit that. Anywho, for how much content SA1 has, this is a very nifty guide. Obviously, as an SA1 enthusiast, I have no need for such belittling guidance, but this is more than serviceable for the average player. I give it an 8 out of 10. The only issue, I guess, would be how long it is, but SA1 is packed to the brim with stuff, so you can't really do much about that. Just get better at reading, that's all I gotta say. So, would you believe me if I told you that this video was originally gonna cover 3 additional 2D games? See, I was gonna do that, but then I saw how bloated the script was and said, yeah, this is more than enough to serve as its own video. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Hopefully you learned something about your beloved 3D Sonic games.